for our about the Likee TV no message and another batch and issue and what hit out no subscribe. Said the opinion latest news to be also by Jibre announcer at me Akabi. Now ya bora and seminima Ofori Attans and seminar na she dear Obagana ha air trendy papa. Na Uncle Fordia betu just say Omuhu Ofori Atta Ghana Omuhu Ofori Atta Ghana ha. And when one seminal go for such as and some de bebre na betu dwan omucho muhu Ofori Atta wa ha ni nsem bebre na kemongram yenti nsem no na ye nsem akabia enfamre mo ye ba de ka ho bia no ye bebre mo.
It's already planned medical trip. Maybe that's the reason why it doesn't. And we are saying that that is immaterial because when your presence and people have said that Ofori Atta was in Ghana and blah blah. Nobody knows Ofori Atta was in Ghana. You do not know whether he has been going in and out of Ghana for treatment. And it happens all the time. There are people in Ghana here who are standing trial, who are appearing before police, and they still have medical conditions. They appear and they go back to the hospital to treat themselves. There are people here who are arrested and put in cells, and they have even said that they were not getting a medical treatment. Some people are even handcuffed behind by the bed and all that. This is not what anybody is saying. What we are saying is that you need to give us a reasonable grounds as to why you are unable to come down to Ghana. And then the second one is that you either have to also provide us with a tentative date. So for instance, we wrote to you and you said, okay, I'm on a medical leave and that I will be back in April, by the end of April.
Okay.
You would have been satisfied with that. But if you leave it blank, as if it will rain, it will not rain. It means when I'm done with it, then I will come. When are you done with it? You yourself, you don't know. So if 2027, we wait for 2027, that's to stretch it.
Well, so you wanted that specific detail from his doctor and that letter that we saw as to whether he could even walk or not even be able to get on the plane. I think you've explained that quite extensively. Now, the other matter is that the 4 cases that you referenced in the case of Ofori Atta are not new.
I think 5.
Hello?
They are not 4 there.
The 5 of them. They are not new. And in fact, a number of them, all of them occurred between at least the outcomes of either some ad hoc committee sittings or parliamentary hearings occurred between 2022 and 2024. In the case of, for instance, the National Cathedral, that ad hoc committee started in 2023. We saw how the details of it played out. And it was clear that due process had not been followed. That's number one. The SML, the investigation was conducted in 2023. The KPMG report was released sometime in March 2024. So what prevented you from instituting investigations into these cases earlier than now that Ofori Atta is out of the country?
Well, everyone is entitled to hold an opinion based on how they are seeing it. Yes, it's true. The cases, some of them, the ECG one dates to 2022 when the official complaint was filed. For instance, none of you knew, and you will say you know. You didn't know we were investigating Ms. Ofori Atta. And I'm happy a panelist had referenced the fact that it had been said in Parliament that this is the first letter to Ms. Ofori Atta. Indeed, this will be the first letter. Because at the OSP, our approach is that we will do all the intelligence and all the investigation we need to satisfy ourselves that this person is indeed a suspect. And there is prima facie evidence that he is the key suspect in that case. Investigations take time. In this country, we like touch and go. We like to always speed things up. It doesn't mean that we cannot speed things up. But investigations take their own course. When you are sitting outside, it's just like right now, you're able to conclude that some things have happened and it's so probable that somebody has committed an offense. You go into it and you realize there is no offense. And then it will go against you and you will think that the OSP didn't do a good job and all that. I think that we must allow time. And we are not saying investigations take time as a ruse to say we are not doing our work. We've been alive to our duties since 2022 when the special prosecutor was appointed. He has been alive to his duties and he has gone through every step of the way. So talk about National Cathedral. Strach took this matter up in 2023. They concluded in November 2024. That was a civil investigation, and they issued their report and referred it to us and said that if we thought it was necessary, we should investigate. And we said, we think it's necessary. And so we decided to investigate it. SML, yes, Manasseh petitioned the office in 2023. And Manasseh, as he's aware, has been following this up every time. And we have always also told him what is happening, why we cannot take certain steps, why we are waiting for this, why we are doing this. So let's not sit down and think that the USP was just sitting down and not doing anything. The fact that you have now seen us saying that Mr. Ofori should appear before us physically means that we have done something and we're now ready to go. People have said, why do we need his physical presence and that his lawyers could come and answer for us? Unless you are trying to tell us that his lawyers partook in the alleged criminal offense. Are the lawyers the ones going to be arrested? Are the lawyers the ones going to be granted bail? Are the lawyers the ones who are going to take their fingerprints and other things that we need to take? Can the lawyers do that for us? Are the lawyers going to be the ones to write the investigation caution statement? We don't need him to even say anything, but we need that investigation caution statement to start a process. Some people have said it can even be tried in absentia. How do you try someone in absentia when you've not done the basic criminal process to get the person before court? It's only when the person decides not to appear before court and you've done all the other criminal process, then you can do that. So please, let's take our time. The OSP has been investigating a number of things. If at the time the OSP is convinced that it's now time for me to move, that is the time the OSP is going to move. The OSP is not going to prevent somebody from going out of the jurisdiction unless we have reasonable grounds to believe that the person should not go because we need to put the person before a court immediately. But I think that people are entitled to be able to go in and out. And you know, we ought to respect people's privacy, we ought to respect people's right to medical care and all that. We have never tried to subject anybody to any of these things. And the OSP, by now, people should have noticed that they investigate in silence. So as you are aware, you talk about the MPA case. I heard the MPA former boss say that he has never been contacted by the OSP.
Yes, he says he's not been formally invited or informed of this.
But why should the OSP contact him when they are doing the investigation? They will only contact you when your presence is now necessary.
Well, that's what he's saying, that as of the time of this press conference, there had not been any formal invitation to him. That's what he said.
And I understand that, but all I'm trying to use, it means that the OSP has been working. We have been working such that you are not even aware we are investigating you. And that is how it ought to be. Until Professor Frimpong Boateng came out to say that the OSP had interviewed him. And that was 3 months after we had interviewed him. None of you knew that Professor Frimpong Boateng was a subject of investigation at the OSP. And I'm saying that that is how we operate. When we gather sufficient evidence to come to the conclusion that you are not a part of what you have been accused of, we will say so. The OSP has not shied away from doing investigation under Nana Akufo-Addo. Under Nana Akufo-Addo, the OSP did investigate a cabinet minister. Yes, people have said that they did not like the outcome. But is that the fault of the OSP? The OSP goes into a case and the evidence the OSP gathers points to an offense that is outside the OSP's remit. And we are saying that the OSP should go to court. Let me give you one example of the former special prosecutor, Martin Amidu. He did take Mahama Yariga to court in the ambulance case in Mahama Yariga's constituency. In the end, he filed a charge of tax evasion. If you read the judgment, the reason why the court dismissed the criminal action was on grounds that the OSP lacks jurisdiction to investigate and prosecute tax evasion.
Yes.
So if at that time, Mr. Amidu had referred it to the agency that had the power to do so, that trial may have continued and may have yielded a different outcome. We investigated Madam Cecilia Dapa. We did a thorough work. And we came to the conclusion that the bulk of the evidence we have does not sit with our jurisdiction. It sits with another agency jurisdiction.
The outcome of it...
Please, if I can finish.
Yes.
If I can finish. We send it to that agency. The one who controls the agency gives instructions that do not go into the case. The agency does not go into the case. And yet the OSP, people want to hang the OSP as if it did not do its job.
Well,
we have investigated, we have investigated the current president and interviewed him. You are investigating someone who potentially could become a president. We did that on Nana Akufo-Addo. We have investigated several other people. Sir John, who was a key member of the in that administration.
I know of all those cases. What I'm saying is that I'm coming. So I just let me now. Are you saying that because you received the charge report in November in the case of the National Cathedral, you've referenced SML and the period that Manasseh finished it, and you say that you do the investigations in silence? Are you saying that you have much more information beyond what is captured in this charge report on the National Cathedral and beyond what Manasseh put out and the KPMG report on the SML deal? Special prosecutor, you have much more. That's why you are coming out now, or you are dwelling on the details of this said reports, which we all know in all these cases are public, which you could have come out and in fact started an investigation and this public declaration much earlier?
I will not be able to discuss what we have. Remember, it's a live case. These matters will end up in court. You do not just give your opponents everything you have.
I mean, if you could speak up a bit for me.
I'm saying that I'm not going to discuss what we have or what we do not have on air. Remember, these cases may end up in court. You do not just give your opponents just everything that you have. But just to let you know that the investigations that went on into SML and the rest, we've been aware of it. We've been aware of it. And there are several other things that we've long been aware of. And we have not just been sitting down, not doing anything. People must appreciate the condition under which this second special prosecutor had to work. He had worked under very difficult circumstances. You are in an office that people are challenging its constitutionality in court, not once, twice. You are in an office that people want to impeach you, not once, twice. You are an office that all people are trying to do is to sabotage it, because people thrive when there is chaos. They thrive when there is misunderstanding. They thrive when they are able to bring political coloration. This is why the OSP was set up, that it pursue cases not for purposes of persecution, but because he has sufficient evidence to send you to court. And I was coming to the Sir John case. We had gone on the Sir John case, and the court had said that because we found out late after Sir John had died, then we could not proceed. We had investigated it. We did not do a sharpy job. All I'm trying to say is that people must give the OSP time. The average criminal trial in Ghana is about 3 years. Kesi Jaben took office, and please, if you just allow me this, Kesi Jaben took office.
Quick one.
And a very strange, limited resources and everything. I'm happy Martin had referenced the fact that we got a full complement of staff in 2023. They had to go through 1 year probation. You have to train them and all that. We are resource constrained. There are certain corporations with other agencies. The laws ought to be changed and amended. We need certain quick amendments and all that. All these have not been done. We've been working under very difficult conditions, but we have not given up. Even when we've had a lot of attacks on us, we have still managed to keep our neutrality, our independence, and we have worked on cases.
Okay.
If now is the time for us to go to court, that is the time for us to go to court. Let nobody try to say that because the OSP is going to court, it's because there's change in government and all that. And I've said it, that it has nothing to do with changing in power.
But you stated that in the last couple of years the office has faced all sorts of intimidation and questioning your authority and so on. So that was a problem for you. Is it not? That's why you reference it. So it will be right to say that because the office had faced all these tactics of intimidation and questioning your authority, challenging your authority and so on, you couldn't do as much as you were expected to do.
No, I've not really said we face intimidation. I've said that you are working at Media General and your boss, and then say...
No, Sammy, I wouldn't appreciate this example. I just asked the question, but I just
want to make it practical. No, no offense to you. I'm just saying that we have worked under very difficult condition, and yet we prove to Ghanaians that we are independent and we are able to deliver. It's a different thing that people may disagree with us. For instance, JB Dankwa, the former Minister of State at the Finance, the outcome, people disagree with that. It's fine. It's law. People can look at what you've done and say, you didn't do a good job. Another person to look at it and said, you did a good job. All I'm trying to say is that when you find us come out and say that we are about to do something, it's also not for fanfare.
Okay, right. So I mean, this information from the doctors of Ofori that you say that is not enough, sufficient information for you, because it didn't state categorically whether Ofori is immobile or not. Did you request further information from them to get this information, these answers to the questions that you are asking now?
It's not up to us to ask for those evidence.
It's not up to you to request for further information if you need it?
It's not up to us. No, let me tell you something. That's why it's good to always look at the first letter. I noticed that you just read that of Mr. Ofori to letter.
Yes.
When they first wrote us the letter, right? When they first wrote us the letter, they did not even think that they needed to attach a doctor's report. They thought it was okay. It was only when we drew the attention that you cannot just say by word of mouth and say that you, the lawyers, can come and stand in and that your client is... that's when they went to attach a letter from a doctor. And I'm saying that you are the suspect. You are the suspect. Our duty is to procure your attendance. You must give us reasonable cause, either to hold on, to delay, or to come and forcibly bring you to the premises. Sometimes I understand we try to bring too much culture and other things into law. We have been very fair with Mr. Ofori. We have been very fair. All we are saying is that he's not been able to convince us that he's unable to attend to us. We find it that he has just decided that I'm treating myself. When I finish is when I'll come. Nobody is saying that you cannot treat yourself. We are saying that at least you ought to communicate to us a specific timeline, or you ought to give us a sound reason as to why we should hold on even perpetually. So that's the point we are trying to make. We are not trying to.
So if you need him in person, Martin Pebble has recommended this morning that travel there, because you've done it in some instances. Travel to the US, that hospital where he is, and get him to answer the questions that you want him to answer in person, instead of waiting for him to come back at whatever time.
But I think I've answered it. Maybe you did not hear it. I said that the options that they are given, they are options that are available to us. We are law enforcement agents. We know the procedures to do and all that. But I've told you that he's not a person of interest. He's a suspect. We cannot go to US and charge him there. We cannot go to US and be doing investigations there.
But the law allows for trial in absentia, is it not? That is, if you have enough evidence to prosecute him.
But you are talking about trial in absentia. What that means is that we are before a law court. We are not before.
Yada Maseso Semuje Brewo Daily Update TV.